Hey y'all, it's me, Tracy, and I did not expect to be back on here this quick helping somebody, but that's what we do because we are Raven County, right? I got a call yesterday from a good friend of mine and he said, I need to talk to you. So we met and we talked and he told me about a very special person. Her name is Lacy Whitmire. And Lacy, if you probably know her from Subway, and if you don't know her from Subway, where she worked for 10 years and never missed a day, to Reeves Feed and Seed, where she currently works. Lacy is in a battle that nobody wants to fight. This is, I'm talking to the ladies. Lacy sat in a doctor's office and got the diagnosis of ovarian cancer. None of us want to hear that. None of us want to hear cancer, period. But ovarian cancer is very, very serious. And I know that firsthand. I had a sister-in-law who had ovarian cancer. My best friend's mom had ovarian cancer. So I'm all too familiar with it. And don't want to be, but I am. So whenever I was asked to help, I said, I'm so busy. I don't know. But I can't say no because we all need help. And we are Raven County, and that is what we do. So here we are, and we're going to talk to Lacy about what she's facing. I wanted to share some statistics first. There are 200,000 cases of ovarian cancer diagnosed each year. It's most common from age 41 to 100. You have 1 in 78 chance of getting ovarian cancer, and you have a 1 in 108%. Or 1 in 108 of surviving. So I called Lacy. She's met me today, and Chelsea is with us. Chelsea's doing the filming. So we're going to talk to Lacy about what happened. Tell me what we were just talking. Tell me where you started. How did you get
Just to go
that?
back to your statistics before I start.
Okay.
Above 40 is the average age. I'm only 39. When my mother was diagnosed when I was 13 years old, she was 30. She had just turned 30. She died at the age of 34. And then my aunt also died when I was in my 20s.
Right.
And
So
she was 50.
We talked about that it's in your family,
Mm-hmm.
and that you do have the gene. There's a gene called
BRCA1 positive. Yeah.
That
I did not know about until this started.
Go around. Right. And so that gene increases your chances of getting ovarian cancer and breast cancer. Mm-hmm. It runs in families. And so Lacy has a daughter. She actually just found out today, right? Mm-hmm. And so that increases her daughter's chances of ovarian cancer. But the good news is, knowing it ahead of time, there are some steps that can be taken to help prevent that. So that's what we're going to pray for. So you lost your mom and you lost an aunt. Mm-hmm. And so then tell me about you. Tell me.
Well, when I was younger, I was always fearful that if I got sick at the same age as my mom,
right.
So that held me back a little bit. And then I got to a point where I thought that, because I've been fairly healthy, I haven't had any issues, so it just didn't dawn on me. But you were asking me how this all happened. It started, I just had a weekend where I went to bed on a Saturday, perfectly fine. Woke up a Sunday morning and my whole abdomen was just swollen like I can't describe. But me being me, thought, well, maybe I was having some issues with a ulcer or something like that. Started taking some Prilosec, and it wasn't resolving itself through the week. So by that Friday, I went to the doctor, and she really couldn't find anything other than what I was kind of snowballing ideas. And so she wanted to do an x-ray and an ultrasound, but because with all the COVID stuff, my husband was out of work at the time. So I really just didn't want that extra expense if I could help it. So we agreed that just let the medication, see if it would help, give it a couple weeks, and if it didn't resolve itself, I would go for the ultrasound. And like I said,
when was this?
This was the week before, because when I went to the hospital it was June 29th, so this would have been the 26th 7th.
So earlier this year,
yeah,
a few months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that Friday I went to the doctor's office. By Sunday, I woke up. I was in so much pain, and anybody that knows me knows that I mean, I'll drive through pain. I don't.
You push through it.
Yeah. So I went ahead and went to Mountain Lakes. I told my husband, I was like, let's just go get the X-ray. So we went to Mountain Lakes. Don't really have a whole lot of good things to say about Mountain Lakes, so I'm just going to skip that part. But long story short, I ended up talking to my sister-in-law's aunt, who is Shannon Robinson at MedLink, to get a second opinion on what MedLink was telling me. And she sent me to Northeast Georgia to the ER there. When I went in and explained to them what was going on, the doctor was like, well, that doesn't typically happen with someone who hasn't had any kind of abdominal surgery. He's like, well, we'll get a CT scan and see what's going on. So I had a CT scan, and probably a couple hours after the scan, he like rushes in. And you're in one of those big rooms with the curtain type walls. You're not in a room. And he's like, well, there's some really alarming things on your scan. And he starts describing the lesions and everything. And I guess in the middle of him talking, I guess the look on my face, he just stopped. And he says, you've heard this before? And like really questioning. And I was like, nope, not me. I was like, but my mom and my aunt both died of ovarian cancer. I know exactly what you're talking about. And the look on his face, I will never forget the look on his face. But he was like, he's like, yeah, you do. He didn't even have to say it.
Right.
And he knew that I knew. The swelling was ascites from the lesions. You know,
that's an accumulation of fluid, right, in the abdomen.
Yes. I ended up having a paracentesis done. It's where they take a needle and put it into your abdomen and use a vacuum to pull all that fluid out. They pulled about 4.5, almost 5 liters of fluid off my abdomen. I lost 10 pounds in 30 minutes. And the doctor, with COVID, everything is just crazy. The hospital was crazy. So initially, when I first met my doctor, he came in and he was talking about doing laparoscopic biopsy to see what form I had. I think he changed his game plan a little bit, but because he ended up going off the pathology results of that fluid. So I was released from the hospital on July 1st. My first appointment was July 7th, I believe. And he came in. We kind of
I love Dr. Green.
Yeah. That's my doctor. Like we knew before he even got it. It was just a confirmation. He walked in the room. He goes, "Well, the results are back. There are cancer cells." And he was very positive though. He was like, he's like, "It might not be as bad as you think it is." He's like, "It's definitely not the diagnosis I want to give you, but." And he asked about, my mother and my aunt and when they were diagnosed, and he was real quick to tell me, don't think in terms of what they went through.
Exactly.
Everything is far advanced that
from
time.
then, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's when he gave me the game plan, 9 weeks of chemo, and then I would get a 2-week break, which I'm currently on, and then I'll have surgery. And then 3 weeks after the surgery, I'll start chemo again. I'll do another 9 weeks.
Now, so they're going to go in and they're going to take out your uterus and your ovaries and your fallopian tubes and anything else they see. Is that right?
They're going in. The biggest thing probably that's more concerning than just the tumors on my ovaries is the fact that it had spread to my omentum. So the surgery is going to consist of a complete hysterectomy, cervix, everything. I will have my omentum removed.
Now, is that that's
that fat pouch that covers your intestinal cavity that protects it. It loves to go there, and that's probably where because you have, from my understanding, a lot of lymph nodes and such in there, and it just, once it gets there, that's what, it just starts going everywhere. According to my CT scan, I don't think they saw anything anywhere else. I think that's really going to be when he gets in there. It hasn't been super clear on anywhere else other than my omentum. But he's going to go in, complete hysterectomy, take my omentum, take my appendix, and then he described it. He said it's like sand being thrown in there. He said my job is to just go in there and get it off. So the debulking, which is just a fancy way of saying anything that he can safely take that he needs to take, he'll take.
Right. I know that when my sister-in-law had it, after surgery or during before they were done, they flooded her abdominal cavity with chemotherapy drugs directly.
He hasn't said anything about that. I have on my pre-op stuff tomorrow, so I'm sure that's when they'll go in more detail with that. But I haven't heard anything about being flooded with chemo drugs.
Yeah, it's a procedure that he thought was really beneficial, and you know, I don't remember what it was called, but okay, so then how many weeks of chemo after that? 9 more weeks. And then what happens? You do a PET scan?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know past that point.
Okay. So tell me, you have a daughter and she's 20 years old, right? And what's her name? Rihanna. And Rihanna works at Zaxby's, right? Yeah. All right. And your husband's Toby? Where does Toby work?
He works at Parkdale.
At Parkdale. Okay. So we are going to do similar to what we done for Charlie Beck. We have some amazing things already donated to help Lacy and her family during this difficult time. And so Chelsea and I are going to be managing a page. I'm unsure what we're going to call it at this point, but I promise you that I will be sharing.
We'll know today.
Yeah, we'll do it today, and we're going to share it again and again and again and again, and we invite you to join. It is a wonderful way to donate, but it's also a wonderful opportunity for you to win some things that you'd love to have but maybe can't afford, like a Yeti cooler or a Yeti cup or a vacation.
Maybe a vacation.
Yeah, vacation. So we're super excited about that. We're going to do this we're going to give it 30 days at least, and then we're going to see what happens. So you're going to be seeing me again, running my mouth, making my crazy faces, and Chelsea too. So it's going to be double fun, right? We are going to do everything we can to make Lacy's life easier, right? I'm not asking you to pay the house off. I'm just asking you to help me make a payment or 2 or 3, right? You got car payments? Car payments. We have insurance premiums, house payments, right? Right. And at this time you work, right? She's still trying to work.
Working through.
Right.
A lot of people are amazed at some points, but yeah.
Right. When I talked to my friend yesterday, this is what he said about Lacy. She is salt of the earth good. She is a person who works really hard and will never ask for help. So, and she said to me this morning, I really hate asking. I don't want to have to ask. Well, so I assured her she's not asking, I'm asking. Me and Chelsea are asking you to step up, do a little bit. If we all do a little bit, we can make enormous change. You know, I'm not going to preach at you, but the Word of God says that we're called to do this. We're called to be here for each other, to take care of each other, to treat each other like we want to be treated, and to be kind and loving. Love one another over again. Jesus kept saying, love one another. So we're going to love Lacy, and we're going to love on her, and we're going to help her any way that we can. And I need you to help me help her. So let's get this thing done. Lacy, is there anything else you want to say? Anything we've missed?
Not that I can think of, other than, you know, I appreciate anything anybody does. And I have already had so many people be more than gracious to me. Far beyond what I expected, or I'm not surprised because I've always known that I was blessed.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard for people to wrap their mind around that. I honestly think I was built for this life. Like, this doesn't, discourage is probably not the right word, but like, I'm not like knocked down by it.
You're up for the challenge, right? Because you're a hard worker.
Well, it's not even just about working. Like,
right?
You know, not many people go through what I've gone through.
How old were you when your mom died?
16.
I was 15 when mine died from cancer. And you lived your life, when you said, you know, I always expected it, right? I spent my mom died at 48. So I spent the whole first 48 years of my life scared to death that I would get what she had and that I would die just like she died. And bigger than that I would leave my child because when you lose your mother at that age,
that was the thing that hit me the hardest when I heard that doctor. That's what broke me.
You thought of your daughter. You didn't think of you thought of your daughter because you had all that pain and you don't want that for her, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be praying for one thing. Every day, I'm going to be lifting you up. Every day. And God is bigger than cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to pray for complete healing, right? It's just like Dr. Green told Lacy that the difference in what they can do even 5 years ago until now is amazing, right? And every day new things come out about how to treat cancer and how to keep it. You know, it's like a chronic disease now. If you treat it, you knock it down. If it comes back, you treat it again and you knock it. So we're going to pray. I'm praying that it'll go away, that you'll have the surgery, that he'll get whatever's there, and that you're going to live to be an old lady, right? And your daughter is going to be better because she knows ahead of the game that she's got the, that could happen. So I want so bad. You don't know how bad I'm fighting the urge to hug her, right? But COVID is real, and we are, I don't know if we're 6 feet apart, but we couldn't get 6 feet because Chelsea's camera wouldn't get us. So anyway, so if you go in Reeves, wear a mask, because Lacy is been doing chemo. She's going to be doing more chemo, and she's working. Why is she working? Why don't she just take off and stay home? Because that's not how she's made, and she's got bills to pay. So let's make her life a little easier. How long are you going to be down after surgery? At least 6 weeks.
6 weeks is the, for healing. But as far as being able to go back to work, 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
Because he's gonna cut me open.
You have to take care of yourself. You cannot be up there lifting boxes and doing stuff.
Well, I'm not. It's hard for me. Anybody that knows me well enough knows I am stubborn. But I've been good. I have not. I've been overdone. Haven't done more than I can,
right,
safely do. And my doctor's like, don't lift more than 20 pounds.
That's hard though. 20 pounds is, our boxes magazines are like 35. Mm-hmm. And if I can get 2 in my arms and carry them, that's what you do. I
typically can carry a 50-pound bag of feed on my shoulder, but like the doctor who put my port in before my chemo started, he's like, once this heals, I don't mind you picking up 50 pounds, but you better not put it on your shoulder.
Right.
So,
well, I'd like to pray. Can I pray with you right now? Okay. Dear God, I come before you, Lord, and I'm asking for you to do great things for Lacy, Lord. I ask you, God, to heal her. I ask you to give her peace, God. I ask you to be with her family, Lord. And I ask you to let Raven County come together and do what we do best, which is to help each other, God. And I ask it all in Christ's name. Amen. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Remember, vacation.